James wiped the sweat from his forehead as he surveyed the abandoned marketplace on station Kepler 442. The war had left scars everywhere, shattered storefronts, flickering lights, and an eerie silence that made his skin crawl. He'd been stranded here for 3 weeks now, ever since his cargo ship took critical damage during a skirmish between the Terran Defense Force and the Zarathi Collective. The station was supposed to be neutral territory, but neutrality meant nothing when you were caught between two galactic superpowers. Most inhabitants had evacuated, leaving behind only the desperate, the forgotten, and apparently, James thought with bitter irony, one stubborn human engineer with no way home. He was rummaging through an overturned supply crate when he heard a soft whimpering sound, almost like the mewling of injured animals. James froze, his hand instinctively moving to the plasma cutter at his belt. In times like these, sounds meant danger, but curiosity, that peculiarly human trait, won out. He followed the noise to a darkened alcove behind what used to be a medical supply store. There, huddled beneath a torn thermal blanket, were two small figures, children, not human children, though. Their skin shimmered with an iridescent quality, shifting between deep purple and silver in the dim light. Their eyes were too large, too luminous, a brilliant violet that seemed to hold entire nebulae within them. Delicate, translucent fins ran along their arms and the sides of their necks, fluttering with each frightened breath. Zarathi children. James's blood ran cold. The Zarathi were the enemy. Their fleets had decimated human colonies. Their warriors were legendary for their ruthlessness. And here were two of their young, alone and terrified. The elder of the two, a girl who couldn't have been more than 7 in human years, pulled the smaller child, a boy, closer to her chest. Her fins flared defensively, but James could see the exhaustion in her movements, the way her body trembled. "Please," she whispered in broken standard, her voice like wind chimes. "My brother, hungry, so hungry." James should have walked away. Every tactical manual, every survival instinct screamed at him to leave them. They were but when the little boy looked up at him with those vast, pleading eyes, James saw something that transcended species, transcended war. He saw children who needed help. "All right," James muttered, more to himself than to them. "All right, let's see what we can do." Over the following days, James became an unlikely guardian. He shared his dwindling ration packs. The girl's name was Lyris. The boy was Kayland. Found that Zarathi children could actually digest human food, though they preferred anything with high mineral content. He dissolved supplement tablets in water for them, and their grateful smiles made the risk feel worthwhile. James learned their story in fragments. Their mother had left them in what was supposed to be a safe location while she attended to important business. The station was attacked hours later. In the chaos, they became separated, and their mother never returned. "She will come," Lyris insisted every night, her fins glowing softly with bioluminescence. "Mother always comes. She is ... important, strong. She will find us." James nodded, not having the heart to tell her that 3 weeks was a long time. Too long. He taught them simple human games, showed them how to ration food properly, and told them stories of Earth, of blue oceans and green forests. Concepts so alien to spaceborn Zarathi children that they listened with wonder. In return, Lyris hummed haunting melodies from her homeworld, and Kale drew pictures in the dust with his small fingers. For a few days, in the midst of galactic war, James found something resembling peace. On the 8th day, everything changed. James was returning from a scavenging run when he noticed the ships, not the battered patrol vessels or merchant haulers he'd grown accustomed to. These were massive, sleek warships that made Station Kepler 442 look like a child's toy. They bore the sigil of the Zarathi Imperium rendered in flowing script that seemed to move across their hulls. His heart hammered. This was an invasion force. He ran back to the alcove, ready to hide the children, to protect them somehow. But when he arrived, he found Lyris and Kale standing in the open, their faces radiant with joy. "Mother!" Lyris cried out. James turned, and his breath caught in his throat. She was magnificent and terrifying in equal measure. Over 7 feet tall, her iridescent skin rippling with colors he had no names for, her fins fully extended in a display of absolute authority. She wore armor that seemed to be crafted from starlight itself, and her eyes, those same violet eyes her children possessed, held the weight of galaxies. Behind her stood an entire battalion of Zarathi warriors, weapons raised. James knew who she was before anyone spoke. Everyone in human space knew of her. Admiral Aliana Sirith, Supreme Commander of the Zarathi Collective's military forces, the woman who had crushed 3 human battle groups at the siege of Arcturus, the strategist who had brought the Terran defense force to its knees. the most powerful woman in the galaxy, and he had been feeding her children. Aliana's gaze fell upon James, and he waited for the killing blow, for the order that would end his life. Instead, she knelt before her children, gathering them into her arms with a tenderness that seemed impossible for someone of her reputation. Lyris and Kale babbled excitedly in their native tongue, their small hands pointing at James. Then Aliana stood and approached him. Every instinct told James to run, but his legs wouldn't move. "You are human," she stated, her voice resonant and commanding. "Yes, ma'am," James managed. "You fed my children, protected them." Yes." Aliana studied him for a long moment, and James saw something shift in her expressions, something almost like respect. She raised one elegant hand, and her warriors lowered their weapons. "I have spent 3 weeks searching across 12 sectors," she said quietly. "I have threatened allies, interrogated enemies, torn apart entire stations looking for them, and I find them here, alive and healthy, because of a human, an enemy." She stepped closer, and James forced himself not to flinch. "You showed mercy when you had no obligation. You showed kindness when your species and mine are at war." Aliana's fins fluttered, a gesture James had learned meant contemplation. "Tell me, human, what is your name?" "James. James Halcroft. James Halcroft," she repeated, as if committing it to memory. "You have given me back what I treasure most. For this you have my gratitude, and my protection. No Zarathi warrior will raise a weapon against you while I draw breath." She signaled to one of her officers, who approached carrying a small, crystalline device. "This is a mark of House Sirith," Aliana explained. "It will grant you safe passage through any Zathi territory. But more than that, She paused, her expression becoming fierce. "I will see that your kindness is known. The Imperium will hear how a human chose compassion over hatred." As the Zrathi forces prepared to depart, Lyris and Kale rushed to James one final time, wrapping their small arms around him. "Thank you," Lyris whispered. "Thank you for the food and the stories." James watched as they boarded the command ship, as the massive fleet departed, leaving him alone once more on the station. In his hand, the crystal pulsed with soft light. He had fed 2 hungry children, never imagining their mother could reshape his destiny and, perhaps, he dared to hope, the destiny of 2 warring civilizations. Sometimes, James thought, the most powerful weapon wasn't plasma or steel. Sometimes it was simply humanity's stubborn refusal to let children go hungry, no matter whose children they were.